Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July 11th, 2024 meeting of the Bismarck Renaissance Zone Authority. Is Dustin with us by Zoom? Or any members with us by Zoom? Hello. Wayne's on vacation.
Dustin is on Zoom, but
He might have his mic muted.
he is unmuted, but we cannot hear him at the moment.
Okay. So we have a quorum.
How can you hear me?
There he is.
Hi.
Are you driving?
Not at the moment. I'm parked at New Salem. I was running 45 minutes late
Okay.
getting back to town.
Okay, no sweat. All right.
Are you really coming back from New Salem?
Yeah, why would you come back from New Salem? Doesn't know where the party is? All right.
Yeah, it is.
All right. We'll ask Dakota Media Access to turn you down a little bit. You're coming in pretty hot. So again, today is July 11th, 2024. This is the time and place of the Renaissance Zone Authority's monthly meeting. We do have a quorum. First item of business would be to consider the minutes of the June 13th meeting.
I move approval as submitted.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? No corrections, changes, anything like that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. We'll move on to the regular agenda, which is a request for Renaissance Zone and/or Downtown Design Review approval. The Malloy Law Offices at 319 North First Street. Isaac is going to walk us through that.
Yes, thank you, Chair Christensen and authority members. So our first regular agenda item today is sort of a 3-in-1 project for your review. It is a new construction project being requested by First North LLC and a commercial lease Renaissance Zone project being requested by Malloy Law PLLC. The new construction would create a 2-story law office at 319 North First Street, of which Malloy Law PLLC would be the sole tenant. First North LLC is also requesting downtown design review approval in conjunction with their new construction project. The adjacent land uses to the project area include restaurants, auto service, a salon, an office, and some land that is currently either vacant or dedicated solely to parking. The existing conditions of the building are shown on the screen, and they were also included in your packets. The application involves the planned demolition of the existing structure to help facilitate that new construction. More on that in a moment. The applicant provided us with a number of renderings, both interior and exterior, for our review today. And the estimated project cost for the new construction is between $800,000 and $900,000, which exceeds the minimum level of investment of $150 per square foot required for eligibility. I will note that in the agenda packet, I put the estimated project cost as $850,000, just because that was the nice middle ground of the $800 to $900, which was the technical range that was provided to us. Just want to make sure that that's clear. I'll just go through some of the other elevations provided here. Again, this is also in your packets. And then some of the renderings that were provided, which are not officially required for downtown design review approval, as that is primarily exterior, but it's always nice to look at some pretty images. We won't say no to that. So then, this is where we get into the interesting portion. City staff have communicated with the applicant that the program is in the middle of some changes to our development plan. As you know, this board approved the changes to the development plan, and I believe last Tuesday the City Commission approved those changes as well, but hasn't been approved yet by the other boards, so it's not final yet, but it's still it's getting there. And of course, those changes could impact how some projects experience the property tax exemptions. Staff initially met with the applicant for this project on February 16th, where we described the new system to the applicant as it was described in the letter of intent between the city and the county. And we then communicated this again around the time of their formal application, a little more recently here. And we have done this, of course, with all inquiries for the project, for the program. And this specific project is involving a demolition. It is the first project to involve a demolition and immediate new construction since these changes are in process. Staff, as you can see on the screen before you and also included in your packet, are proposing a baseline building value of $0 given the current blighted condition of the existing structure, again shown here. And the provision in the amended development plan approved by this board and the city commission, which states that the authority can adjust the baseline involving demolitions while considering certain provisions, including the whole portion is there, but I want to highlight the item number B there. Demolition of buildings presenting a hazard to public safety, clear blighting impact, or other evidence of poor condition should not be discouraged. That's one of the things that this board has in their power to adjust that baseline value for your consideration. Staff have received certificates of good standing for both of the applications, the new construction and the lease. They are separate applications, but we have certificates of good standing for both of those. And the public has been notified of this request via publications in the Bismarck Tribune on June 28th and July 5th, and 51 letters were mailed to nearby property owners on June 28th as well. To my knowledge, staff has not received any public comments prior to this meeting regarding this project. And as a cumulative result of all the findings contained in the staff report, City of Bismarck staff find that the proposed Renaissance Zone projects would not adversely impact the public health, safety, or general welfare, and are generally consistent with the Renaissance Zone Development Plan, Comprehensive Plan, and Bismarck Code of Ordinances and relevant state law. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the new construction Renaissance Zone project at 319 North First Street as a full property tax exemption on the value of the new building for 5 years for First North LLC, and an exemption from state income tax on income derived from the location for 5 years for Malloy Law PLLC. And finally, staff recommends downtown design review approval of the presented designs for 319 North First Street with the standard condition that any substantive revisions to the approved design for the new construction would be reconsidered by the DDR committee prior to implementation. And one last thing I want to note before I see if you have questions for me at this time is there is a slight typo that you might have noticed on the agenda page itself where it says the staff recommendation is approval with conditions. The staff report is correct. Originally, as we were crafting these documents, that was before we had received the certificates of good standing. So there was going to be a condition for approval with receiving those prior to going to City Commission. We do have those. I may or may not have updated the staff report and missed updating the agenda. And by may or may not, I mean I did.
It happens.
So with that, does the authority have any questions for me at this time?
Would the welcome member guy, by the way.
Thank you.
Glad you could join us. Yeah, it's busy downtown. That's good. Would the authority members like to act on all three in one fell swoop, or would you like to break them down individually? Or? Okay, so we'll separate the design review at this point and deal with the first two. That's fine. And this is not a public hearing, so.
The Renaissance Zone projects would be a public hearing. The design review technically would not have to be a public hearing.
Okay, so we'll do that then, and then come back to you with questions or comments, if that's okay.
Certainly.
So we'll open the public hearing. This is a public hearing on the item of the Malloy Law Office project at 319 North First Street. Is there anyone wishing to appear on that request, the new construction request or the lease request? This is a public hearing if anybody would like to appear. Welcome, come on up, state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Mike Malloy. I'm the owner of First North LLC as well as Malloy Law PLLC. I believe staff did a great job with presenting the project to the authority. Just from our perspective, we're really excited about moving back downtown. I think it's going to be a good project for the area. We are looking to hire some more staff, so we are going to bring in some more employment as well to the downtown area and just really clean up the area, which I think the city has been making efforts to really revitalize the area where this project is being proposed. And we would ask approval for both applications. We do have members here from Paramount Building to answer any questions that you may have as it relates to any of the building materials or timeline or anything of that nature. As staff pointed out, the The current site is an eyesore, and I believe we just got confirmation today that the tear down will likely be occurring within the next week, I believe, or by no later than, I believe, July 22nd of 2024.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? Anyone? If not, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to appear? Kate from the Downtowners?
Yeah, authority members, Kate from the Downtowners, just wanted to, again, give our support to this project. We've been working with some of the other property owners on this full block, including the former Budget Inn site, Aides, which is the Mexican restaurant that's gone into Yam Siam. So this is kind of one of the last pieces of property on that full parcel that we'd love to see redeveloped, so we'd encourage your support.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Kate? Thanks, Kate. Anyone else wishing to appear? If not, we will close the public hearing. Does anybody have questions of Isaac at this point? Does he need to come back up, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve both items as presented,
Is there a second?
with the noted corrections from Isaac.
There you go.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the matter? Hearing and seeing no further discussion. Sandra B., if you'd call the roll, please.
Authority member Greg Zenker,
Yes.
Joe Fink,
Yes.
Kirsten Dvorak,
Yes.
Dustin Gavrilo,
Yes.
Nancy Guy,
Yes.
Chair Christensen.
Yes, that motion carries, and then we'll move on to the downtown design review request. Isaac and/or the applicants, or maybe we should ask our technical advisor, one of whom is present, for input, feedback, comments, questions. David Witham?
Yeah, I don't have any like major comments or questions. It looks pretty straightforward approval from my perspective.
Okay.
So.
Good enough. Anyone have questions of Isaac or staff? If not, what are your wishes?
Move to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Dustin, you're getting all this?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Glad you're still with us. So it's been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, we'll call the roll, please, Sandra.
Authority Joe Fink,
Yes.
Kirsten Dvorak,
Yes.
Dustin Gavrilo,
Yes.
Nancy Guy,
Yes.
Greg Zenker,
Yes.
Chair Christensen.
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Malloy and company and everybody. Looks exciting. Although the photograph that was up showed a picture window that I think it's gone now when I drove by today, but hopefully you saved that. Might have some historic value. Yes, Joe.
I'd like to see if the applicant can come up for a second and just kind of explain what impact this Renaissance Zone approval is going to have on the project you're proposing. Like,
Would you be willing to do that, Mr. Malloy? Give us your thoughts on the program, in other words? And
yeah,
no, he was wondering would you have done this
kind of
project
explain
without
the impact that this has on your decision to do the project where it's at. Like,
You know, we were mainly looking to get back downtown or back down to the downtown area. We used to have our office on 3rd and Broadway at the Logan's on 3rd Building. We moved up north, and just for convenience purposes, as far as myself and our other attorney going to court proceedings, it's going to be really helpful from that regard. From a financial perspective, I think it's going to benefit us quite a bit, especially with the idea of bringing on new attorneys, new younger attorneys. There's a high cost to bring them on, and to have this exemption in place from a financial perspective, I think is really going to help the business out as we expand into the downtown area. But yeah, the program has been it's been really easy to work with through Mr. Johnson. The application process has been pretty straightforward and clear as relates to what is needed. So we are, like I said, we're very excited about getting back downtown.
Is it safe to say that it weighed heavily in your decision to do this project, the benefits of the Renaissance? I'm not trying to put words in a lawyer's mouth. Would never do that. But.
It did. I mean, obviously, you know, the investment that we're making, it's substantial, you know, and as a small business, you always worry about, you know, what happens if, you know, the phone stops ringing or if we don't get any clients. So that it's going to be a big help to us as we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank
Again,
you.
we appreciate what you're doing. That's great.
Thank you.
Kate from the Downtowners is next on the agenda, if you wish. This could be one of our shortest meetings, which is fine. It's July, right? And Commissioner Zenker can get out on the golf course or the river. Oh, he just came.
I just had a couple updates for
Please.
you all, just in terms of some things that are happening downtown. And as Mr. Witham will know, there's a tenant a tenant coming to the Trestle Building, Insomnia Cookies, which would be a good after golf course snack probably. We've also got a few folks that have moved into some of our office spaces downtown. If you guys are aware, the Prince Hotel has, I would call it, professional services group that moved into the southeast corner of the building, and they're still looking for a tenant with the north side of that building, but they've got them firmly in there. KLJ is fully moved in and taking about 2.5 floors in I call it the Wells Fargo building, the Grand Pacific Center. Thanks, Jim. We've got some tenants that are looking at or pretty close to signing some LOIs at the Cowan building as well, which is great. Obviously, you guys know about Jomo House, the Vietnamese place. It was on your agenda last time, just kind of south of Jimmy V's. So generally, we're seeing things picking up, which is really nice. Even in the office user space, which has been good. We've had, I think they've announced that Agency Mabu is moving their entire operations downtown. They'll be in the Quality Title building. And they've been moving in mid-July, and they'll be in as well. So the office user market is actually doing okay, much better than it had been. And I think what we're seeing a little bit is users that have a smaller footprint, and they're looking for a new space. So they might be hybrid working, don't need as big of a office space, but they are choosing to put that kind of smaller footprint within the downtown, which is great. The parking ramps are pretty full because of that, which is nice. So probably need to continue to have those conversations on another ramp. Sanford is still very much invested in the downtown. They are expanding their same-day surgery, which you all know because it went through design review. And I'm still going to do that heart hospital at some point. I don't know what the timeline is there. So all signs are pretty good. Knock on wood, it's chugging along a lot better than it was probably the previous 18 months or so, even though interest is still kind of high and interest rates are still kind of high, supplies are high, labor's high, but people are sort of finding some ways to do some things, which has been really nice. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions of Kate? Thank you, Kate.
Thanks.
I would add, they poured another massive slab of concrete this afternoon in the depot parking lot, so they're getting close to getting that part of the project wrapped up. So Isaac has a question for us regarding, Kate mentioned the Jomo Vietnamese Cafe, and there was some questions from staff that Isaac would like to bring forth.
Yes, and that was purely coincidental. I did not prompt her to set me up for this. But as you likely remember, at your May meeting, we saw the Renaissance Zone application for the Jomo House at 515 East Main Avenue. And as part of that discussion, there was some talk of whether or not they would be painting a portion of the mansard roof and all of that. And you, at that meeting, as the authority gave authority to staff and the technical advisors to administratively review some of that rather than requiring a formal downtown design review. So now we come back with another question, and we'll see if we can get this back on the screen here shortly. So this was provided to staff for the building permit portion of their project. And there was some debate as to how much of this would actually take place. It, of course, is different than what was initially said, but after speaking with the applicant to a degree, they said the primary purpose of this rendering here was to show the colors that they had described for that mansard portion of the roof above, and less so focusing on the shown changes to the assemblage of the storefront down below. So what staff is asking for at this time is just a little more direction and guidance as to whether or not the authority would like to grant us the authority. I'm just trying to see how often I can say authority here, to continue to review some of this administratively, or if this would trigger, in your eyes, a full downtown design review requirement before the board, and that would have to be at the next meeting. This was brought to our attention after the packets went out, thus why it is on the other business, and we just wanted to make sure we were processing this in a timely manner.
Ms. Guy?
Isaac, do you have a picture of the original storefront that we saw?
I do, and we have a nice little comparison here.
Or a or a rendering of what was in our packet that they said the front was gonna look
They
like?
weren't proposing
They
to
they
do
were not
anything.
proposing anything specific
weren't.
at that time,
So-
and that's how this first came about.
Okay.
Because there was some discussion about them painting that mansard white, which then you gave us the authority to just review that administratively. So we are asking if this still, if it either still falls within your original direction. If not, do you want to expand that direction to us or see a full downtown design review at next month's meeting? And I would also refer to David for his input. Staff brought this to the design review advisor's attention as well, so they're aware of this as well.
I have a question, is the white background, they simply are painting the standing seam metal mansard white?
That is the
Or are
information they have
replacing it?
provided to us,
Just
yes.
curious. I mean, from a very pedestrian point of view, it looks a lot better than what's there today, but what are your thoughts or wishes as far as having staff handle this with David's input? David?
Yeah,
please.
I'll just give you guys a little bit more background detail in sort of the conversations that happened amongst the staff and the design review advisors. We asked the applicant to provide some visualization just to kind of confirm where they were painting, where they weren't going to be painting, what colors. The rendering that they provided was actually probably went above and beyond what we were asking for. I think an annotated photo would have actually probably served the purpose. But then it did sort of trigger, like, is this really your intent? Because there's more here than just paint. And then it also triggers some questions about the materiality of that upper mansard roof. What's depicted in the rendering, it appears that there's an additional material that's being applied to kind of create that frame. So there's some questions around, is that really what's going on? And how is that happening? So I think if this rendering is an accurate depiction of what they want to do, I think that probably does trigger design review. If the intent is really just to do paint and there's some extra embellishments here that maybe aren't part of the intent, I don't know, then maybe not. So, but based on this rendering, my point of view is that this would trigger a full design review. So.
Is that the consensus around the table, as opposed to delegating responsibility to staff and David? Okay. Commissioner?
So, well, if this isn't what they're depicting and it simplifies it, I wouldn't have a problem with staff and technical advisors, but if this is really what they want, then I would concur. So maybe get a clarification as to really, if that's really what they want, or
Does
or
this,
not.
does this delay their project, or
It,
just the exterior portion of it?
Yeah, so Chair Christensen and authority members, it would not delay them from doing any sort of strictly interior construction work, but anything on the interior that would be necessary to work in conjunction with that exterior portion, that could cause some issues if we are upholding the guidelines for design review.
Is there a representative of Jomo House here today or not?
I do not believe there is. I spoke with him along with some members of our building inspection staff at a meeting on Tuesday. There was some explanation that, yes, not all of this would be done, but there is at least some of these changes that would likely happen. For example, and I apologize for not having the image showing this, but on one of their building plans, you can sort of see on the existing image, there's actually 3 doors there at the moment. They are proposing to remove the middle door, which is shown more or less in the rendering. So they are proposing that at least. The rest of the changes, it is perhaps a little unclear at this time how far that goes.
All right. So, Joe?
Mr. Chair, I don't remember seeing, I mean, other than the interior and what we had approved, like, it's pretty frustrating to approve design without a design to approve. And we've gone this a few times where, we don't want to delay a project unnecessarily, but that's why we're here. We do need to approve the design. So my opinion would be, yeah, get us a design to look at and approve and bring it here.
Okay, everybody's clear on that. Dustin, you want to weigh in at all? Oh, you may be under.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I think that if David thinks that it needs to come back to us, then go with it, but otherwise, let them
Sure.
take care of it.
And I'll just recap my kind of recollection of that this was not a design review application when it first was approved, because it
Correct.
was represented as we're just going to paint some stuff on the outside. So, so if that remains the scope, and if the direction is if it's just paint, then staff can approve it. I think it's unclear at this point whether or not that there is more to it than that. But I think if there is more to it than that, then that's where it needs to come back.
Okay,
That's kind of
we
what
can
I would
hopefully get that on the next month's agenda, hopefully.
Do you need a motion?
Sure. No. Okay. We'll
I
just,
leave
we'll
it up to the
continue
discretion
this.
of the authority.
We'll just continue it to the next meeting. Speaking for myself, it's quite an improvement over what's there, but, all right. All right, so that item will be continued to the next meeting. Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else have any other business? I see other folks in the audience. Is there anybody that wishes to add anything to the meeting today? If not, and if there's no objection, we stand adjourned until August 8th. Thank you, everybody.